Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors' absolutely heartbreaking 109-110 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, Ryker, and I was not emotionally prepared for this game. I was excited for hopefully a good one, some good Raptors basketball. They've been playing well as of late, but we got an absolute roller coaster in this one, Ryker. And before we dive into anything, before we talk about anything, what felt worse, losing Game 7 to the Boston Celtics in the second round of the playoffs, or this random regular season night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who lost by 20 or 70 points this weekend?
I thought you were going to say, before we get into it, let me explain why I'm wearing these glasses. What are you trying to see, bro? What are you trying to look at? I haven't been able to see
the box score. I don't have my contacts in. I'm rocking the specs.
But this game I had my own basketball game. We won. Bronze medal. Shout out. Thought I was going to miss this one. It ended a bit early. I got in the elevator, looked at the box score. Fourth quarter, 8 minutes left. 91-78 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, as you pointed out, just lost by 73 points against Memphis. I said, are we again losing to the optimized tanking Thunder team? This is worse than last year. I tune back in, 3 minutes left, epic comeback. We'll talk about that. And then to have it stolen by 0.2 seconds, 0.002 seconds, just on the fingertips of Champagnie. This game, brutal, but still exciting to watch. So,
yeah, no, I'm absolutely. Oh, sorry, you glitched out, but there, I thought you finished up there. My apologies.
No, go ahead.
But Ryker, we just got to dive into let's get the segments happening at the start of this podcast, because there's so many things that we have to dive into. So we're starting off with the spicy play of the day, and there are a bunch of these plays, all coming in the span of the fourth quarter. We did have a nice Siakam to Boucher lob or pass for a dunk, but it was really Fred VanVleet who struggled in this game. Wasn't really playing like himself. The shots weren't going down. 6 of 20 from the field, but you wouldn't know it if you watched the last 5 minutes of this game, because he'd be coming down with Lou Dort on him. Full speed, running at the three-point line, hucking up threes. The Raptors were down by, 12 points, 13 points with 4 minutes to go, and splashing down shots, hitting momentum swinging shots. Fred VanVleet was to splash those ones home. And then Ryker, at the end of the game, you might have been surprised to see Champagnie Poppy out there. This isn't the G League, this isn't the 905, right? And Champagnie Poppy's out there playing strong defense. We'll talk about some other plays, particularly at the end when he let his rookieisms sort of get in the way, but he was playing really well and earned his spot. And I think the true spicy plays got to go to that tip-in that put the Raptors up by 2 points. I thought it was going to be the game winner. I was searching for pictures for a thumbnail.
It wasn't a tip-in.
Well, it was a correct.
What do you call
that? He caught it in the air. It was a little.
What are you talking about?
You got okay. No, I'm joking. I'm mixing up my possessions and all.
You went baseline. He had to pull it backwards here. He had to pull his hand kind of out this way, like, I'm not even in the frame. Pull his hand around backward to get it in.
Yeah,
but it was a layup.
Yeah, you're correct. I'm mixing up my plays. It was a whirlwind that last end of this game. Nice drive. Everyone was selling, and then is there anything else, or should we just swing it into the rest of the segments, Ryker? We do have a super chat from the Siavash G, saying the tank is on. We can deal a few years worth it. Not tank. The Raptors played well to end this one. Are we getting a tank?
This is what's so funny. Is, again, this is the optimized tanking Thunder who set a historic margin loss. And this is coming in 2021 when games are typically high scoring. And they could only put up 70-something points on the board, and they got outscored by 70-plus points. So this sucks, but didn't have Precious. You're gonna come back and say that his defense was sorely missed in this one.
We need some Precious in these games.
You need some Precious propaganda. And I also don't know if it was the right decision. Well, 2 right decisions. We'll talk about that in a second. But if it was the right decision to have Champagnie guard one-on-one Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's obviously the best player on that team. So maybe you're trying to give him minutes and give him confidence and whatnot, but we have better defenders probably than Champagnie. So that was issue number one, Ben. Swinging into the OGs, we'll get into that probably with the gold star.
Yeah, the OGs play the game. It would have without a doubt been the spicy Pele, but there was a possession. There was a possession where, you know, the Champagnie made some weird plays, even though he was playing great, but he almost redeemed himself with probably the biggest OGs in Raptors Digest history. Neither of us are rocking the OGs hoodie in this one. However, Ryker, the tip, going crazy. The adrenaline's pumping. We think we have the comeback W. The balloons don't want to play. The balloons are playing, Ryker. We're all celebrating. You won the bronze medal today. You see the Raptors make a wild comeback. Champagnie with the tip-in. It looked good from the eye test. And what was it? It was on Sportsnet. They wouldn't play the clip. They waited for the referees. They wanted to tease it because usually
they knew.
Yeah, they got that up quick. They said, okay, we'll give this to the Toronto Raptors fans. And I was excited. I was running around my basement. I was ready to go. And then we see the clip, and you can't help but let out an OG's scene. Milliseconds, microseconds. I don't know if you can get lower than that. A basic tip. This was a tip. And it just couldn't get there. An offensive rebound game winner for Champagnie to really put him on the map would have been a amazing story. Champagnie Poppy would have had to drop an album about this.
Yeah.
It would have been too poetic. But what were you feeling at that moment, Ryker? What was your reaction to that whole situation?
You summarized it well, Ben. Nothing else to add to that one. Disappointing. They panned to somebody in the audience who looked disappointed. So I kind of knew what to expect there. Fans don't look disappointed when all that hype was in the arena. Somebody mentioned it at the beginning. We're saying, how are we even celebrating such a comeback to such a dreadful Oklahoma City team? But that's it. It's not about the team. It's about the excitement of the game. And when you mount such a comeback, that makes it fun. And you want to seal that comeback with a victory, especially at the hands of the young guy who celebrated that tip in so hard. He looked like Kobe Bryant, RIP. Derrick Rose is very stoic when he hits game winners. Dwayne, anybody who's hit a cool, yeah, exactly. All the people around Derrick Rose, Ben. But I'm bursting at the seams. Swing it into the Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo for worst performance, and in this one, it's not the worst performance, Ben. It's the worst defensive set. And who are we looking at in this? Nick Nurse to call out the defense, to coach the players adequately on late game, situations, running those scenarios in practice. Okay, team, down by 2, 1 possession left on the shot clock, up by 2, 1 possession left on the shot clock. How do we play defense? And I would assume when you're up by 2, you don't collapse 3 men on somebody in the lane and leave a wide open shooter. Now, that shooter is Mike Muscala, and that hurts especially more when he hits a dagger to bring their team up by 1. But that's irrelevant because you still left the guy who's willing to shoot wide open when a layup in the lane would have at worst tied the game. And instead you have 3 people collapse. And I don't know whether to blame that on Nick Nurse, Ben, or just the defense for not thinking that through. But I was watching it. I'm sure you were thinking the same thing. Like, why are they so concerned about a layup right now? Made no sense to me. That's the golden kazoo in this one.
Yeah. Well, it was Gary, I believe, on Shea. We had the help come in. He made a nice move, got him to the lane, and then Champagnie saw him hesitate, look back, kind of stayed with Muscala, and then he looked back at the rim Shea did. So Champagnie said, okay, he's going to shoot it. I got to go down and help, not let him get an easy layup. And then Shea, being the crafty guy he is, kicked it out. So that's a poor decision by Champagnie. Probably there's a rookie going down, helping in the lane. But if Fred VanVleet, you see that, right? He was late on his rotation. If someone's helping, you're 2 passes away, you got to run to the guy that's 1 pass away. So there's a broken down rotation there. And then obviously Nick Nurse, especially for a guy that, or throwing in a guy that's a rookie, right? You got to make sure he knows these sorts of things. So it's definitely not one person to blame with this. I definitely agree with you, but just an unfortunate possession, unfortunate decision there for that situation, because the Raptors, it would have been a crazy comeback, a hype celebration for all that. And Ryker, I see a few people in the chat bringing up Fred VanVleet fouled at the end of this game, and Yes, it was a foul, but you're not getting that call.
Foul. He got fouled?
Yeah, for his last shot, the one that Champagnie tipped in. But it looked similar to the shot Kyle Lowry took with when Paul Pierce essentially just forearmed him in 2014, our first playoff series with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. At the end of that one, got knocked down to the ground. Looks similar to sort of one of those, that shot by Kyle Lowry. That's why I look back at it too. But when you're a small guard, particularly Fred VanVleet, who's gotten a lot better at finishing the lane, but isn't notorious for being a guy that gets buckets in the paint specifically, you're not getting that call at the end of this one. Are you, I know.
Here's the other thing. He didn't beat his man. Who was on him? Was it Shea or Lou Dort?
I don't remember specifically, but Dort was on him for a good bit.
But he didn't beat his man. He picked up his dribble and then on his 2 steps was trying to get around. It's very tough to get those calls because you're trying to force your body through, right? It's not like you've beaten them, right? And you can do a sweep through. Your entire body is behind the defense. So the benefit is typically going to go to the defender. I'm sure people will get frustrated that I'm saying that and giving credit to the defense in that situation, but fact is he didn't get around and then make his move. He picked up his dribble and then tried to get around. So I can understand why there was no foul call. It's just unfortunate that it got tipped up so high, because if it was a shorter tip, then it would have been spot on. So that's it. The way it goes. Then what's even more disappointing in this one is the Raptors. The winning streak is now over. They were at big 2 games. Back to 0 now. They're going to have to work their all the way back up to match that winning streak. So we have at least something to strive towards.
We definitely have something to strive towards. Pascal Siakam's in the chat after a tough game saying we have a worse record than last year. But how are you feeling? Because before we dive into the stats, because there's some stats that we dive into, and then I'm sure we'll go off the rails for a little bit. But Ryker, how are you feeling after this game, after the last couple? I'm still... Obviously, the third quarter was horrific for the Toronto Raptors in this game, but outside of that, the team played really well. We've been playing a lot better as of late. We don't have OG, we don't have Precious, and we don't have Khem Birch, right? We're already thin in our front court, and those are 3 of arguably our biggest guys, our best players to play at the center position, even though OG is more of a 3, but he was our small ball 5, usually when we closed games last season, right? We don't have any of those bigs. Are you disgruntled right now? Are you playing the kazoos in your head, or what are you thinking?
Well, you're segueing us to a perfect point of conversation, which is the topic of a couple of kids that are now on the block over in Indiana, which is Turner and Sabonis. And you wanted to title this one, the Raptors are going to make a trade, or they must make a trade.
Joking, sir.
But... maybe the Raptors are a little bit stagnant right now. Maybe a little bit of a mix-up, and you can look at having key players obviously missing due to injury, and health and safety might end up being a big issue now. I know that that's starting to pick up as well, but perhaps having a more legitimate big man in the lineup might do something to bring the Raptors a little bit closer to that playoff picture, because it's still wide open in the East. However, the other train of thought is, maybe we do just commit to the tank this year. I don't know if people want to hear that or not, but
I don't want to hear that. Not now.
It's too early, especially. Yeah.
It's too early for the tank, chat. I know when the Raptors are winning, people are always agreeing with my wild takes. When the Raps are losing, they agree with your takes. It's how it goes in the comment section.
No, because your takes are usually centered, but you were so out in left field with the Siakam
game. Whatever.
Take.
With the Siakam take?
Yeah, that's what everybody was roasting you on in the last video.
Being a good defender. He's a great defender. Yeah. What are people talking about?
Bro, everybody's saying you're tripping. They all agree with me. No. All of the comments are saying you're on something, bro. It's saying that he's an elite defender. I didn't call him a bad defender. I just said he's mid. He's average. Right? For his size and athleticism, he should be a better defender, but he doesn't.
He's a good defender.
He doesn't intimidate any bigs around the rim. He doesn't defend the paint at all. He's not a center.
He's a wing guy. He can stay in front.
He's not a wing, Ben. He's a 4.
He's a 3-4. Right? That's who he guards. That's who he guards. He doesn't guard 5s.
Ben,
does he guard 5s? Does he guard 5s?
4 or 5.
Does he guard 5s? Who guards the 5 when it's him and OG?
He can't guard 5s.
I know. I never said he was a good paint defender. I never said he was your Serge Ibaka back there swatting shots. I said he's mobile, he's
At
long,
his
and
height
he
and
can guard
size, he
people around the
needs
wing.
to be able to swat shots to be considered a good defender.
Okay,
Because
so
he doesn't have the switch ability.
Does
He can't
Gary
guard
need
two.
to be swatting shots to be considered a good defender?
Gary can guard 1 through 4. Pascal can guard 3 and 4 at best.
Pascal can switch on to some twos. He's a wing guy. He's long.
That's a tough assignment. That's a tough assignment at 2 for Pascal. That's what I'm saying. To be elite, you need to have multiple positions that you can
were
defend.
talking like he was trash on defense. You were worried about the defense with Pascal. I wasn't taking none of that slander, but
everybody agree with me in the comments.
The chats are lying. We got all the Raptors haters back. We need the Raptors get some W's. But Ryker, you know, the Toronto Raptors, there was some good games. There was some good performances in this one. And Siakam did play well in this game. 23 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Did have 5 turnovers, which is tough, but 10 of 15 from the field, 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. What were your thoughts on Pascal in this one?
He looked good in this one, I thought, and you saw more of the game than me. I really only tuned in down the stretch of the 4, and it looked like he was playing in the right positions. He obviously hit a corner 3, which was real big, along with a bunch of other players. Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet and Champagnie was playing well. But I didn't watch the first 3 quarters, so what'd you see?
Yeah, I thought he played well. He was driving the lane. We're seeing Siakam really come back into his own, which is it's a positive it's a massive positive for this team. It's a big reason that we've turned it around a little bit. Obviously, the third, everyone was sort of stagnant, but in the first half, he was getting buckets. He was finished around the lane. The middies were popping. Those post-up sort of fadeaways that he hooks up at the start of the season that weren't going in, that was frustrating everyone. They're starting to go down a little bit now, which is exciting. Obviously, the three-point shot has been... No one's been talking about it, but his percentages have been ridiculous so far this season. And 2-2 from the three-point line tonight, solid. So, you know, it's pretty solid there for Pascal.
I actually like that he only took 2 threes tonight as well.
Yeah, he's playing well. You know, people are rocking this. Siakam haters are out running wild, but you know, gotta show love when he's playing some good games. And stop spamming in this chat the same old comments in here. What is it? Shaw, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name. That's an L. Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes also had a solid one this one. And we got to give the award out right away. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists for Scottie. Banged 2 threes at the start of this one. Is he taking... I guess you didn't see most of this game, but, you know... I like him taking the threes. I like that they're going down, but when he starts missing a couple, he's so effective as a slasher. He's so effective in that mid-range. I'd like to see him get a little bit more creative rather than settling at times for around the three-point line.
Yeah, well, that was my big fear with Scottie Barnes, because that was my fear with Siakam, and then it happened, was that he's getting a little too comfortable, a little too relaxed, a little too tentative, not attacking. Because when you have a big body like that can score above people in the lane and is good enough, he's really a slasher. I think Scottie Barnes, he's not necessarily created off the dribble. I know came up as a point guard, so it's not going to be long or difficult to develop that ball handling skills, right? I don't think we'll have to wait as much as we have to wait for OG. But right now, I think he's a very effective slasher. He's big enough to catch it at that high post. Rip, go through, finish. I don't love that he's waiting outside the three-point line. Same thing. And I wanted to fact check you on Pascal Siakam's three-point shooting. You're saying that it was good recently this season, hey?
Yeah.
He was okay, so Washington, he was 1 for 1. Mm-hmm. Then he was 1 for 4, 1 for 6, 0 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 3.
What's the season stats?
Season is 33%.
33? Okay, it's went
down. Which is improved from last year.
I looked at it last prior to the past stretch of games. It was up there in the high 30s, and then he had a couple good ones tonight. But it's coming around. The jumper has looked good from Siakam. I think it's
which is impressive because he's coming off shoulder injury, so he still should have technically mobility issues, which is nice.
Yep. No, so it's I don't know. I'm happy to see Siakam playing well. Too many people are slandering this guy, so we gotta. I don't know.
We need Siakam and OG. There's no two ways around it. We're not one of those teams that can function well with only one of our best guys. We need all of our best guys, and even then we still might lose to these Oklahoma City, Houston Rocket, optimized tanking teams. But I want to see our best players playing night in and night out to give us a chance, because it's tough. Obviously, we're on that sort of depressed tanking mentality, trade Siakam, trade everybody. right? Trade all of our futures for the guys that are available on the market, but it's a whole different story if we could actually put a couple games together with our good players.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of which, Pascal Siakam's in the chat saying, throw a little like spike. Throw a little like spike. Just to cure our depression. So we will do that. And just to build off your point there, right? Our core, I think, is really solid. Right, even the starters tonight, they all played, or they all had solid box scores. Fred really came on at the end of the game, but Trent 24 points in this one, 10 of 17 from the field. Right, Fred ended with 19, 8 and 9, almost a triple double for Freddie VanVleet. Even Boucher had a solid game in this one, 11 and 7. Right, we broke down Scottie, broke down Pascal, but it was the bench that absolutely killed us tonight. It was only Champagnie that really came off the bench and was a positive outside of that one possession at the very end, but almost hit the game winner and stuff. So shout out Champagnie Poppy. But Utah couldn't get his 3 going, only hit 1 for 4. Svi Mihailuk looked bad in his 7 minutes, right? He was not we weren't sipping on the Svg water in this game. Isaac Bonga knocked down a 3, which I was excited to see, but still he really looks raw out there in terms of getting his own bucket. Delano really has, he had that one game a couple games ago where he was facilitating the offense. You want to see him be more aggressive, the ball in his hands, not just be a spot-up shooter. Delano Banton is a spot-up shooter. He's essentially useless out there. Get the ball in his hands, be aggressive, be quick, right? And yeah, that's our bench. We are not a deep team right now, especially when we are injured, Riker.
No.
Especially when Svi is not playing well.
Yeah. God. And it's, I'm at a loss for words just because of how excited we were for the depth when we were watching Summer League, saying, how are we on earth going to whittle this team down? How are we going to select the final roster spots? How are we going to play an 8 or 10 man rotation? There's going to be so many guys vying for minutes this season, and now we're basically begging for somebody to step up off the bench and be that guy consistently. So it is pretty funny the way that things play out, and sometimes our assessments are right. More often than not, they're not.
We were excited about 2 guys in particular, Sam Decker and Ishmael Wainwright. Those are the 2 guys you and I were elated about. Summer League, start of the year, the preseason, right? Those are the guys we wanted to see, we thought could be in the rotation. We take those guys out. Bonga, we're still waiting for him to hit, right? The potential's there, but he hasn't really done much out there. He can't really finish around the rim. The 3-point shot, he's hit 1 now in this game, but Champagnie did play well. Champagnie is a positive. Wouldn't mind seeing him getting some more run, but Utah's been all right since he's come back. Delano, I thought
he'd be more impactful. I definitely thought Utah would be more impactful. Yeah. Josh called it. Josh said Utah's probably a little bit overrated, but hey, is what it is. We could have Ishmael Wainwright, i.e. PJ Tucker, on the team, and Sam Decker, i.e. Mike Miller, i.e. who are other shooters like that?
Steph Curry, baby. 6'9" Steph.
No, I'm just thinking those. Not Kyle Korver, Mike Dunleavy, Kirk Heinrich.
This is tough. It's tough, but Riker,
Steve Kerr.
We could have just signed Dirk. I think that's what the Raptors should have done. Gave him a max contract out of retirement, but Riker, I think it's time to go off the rails a little bit and swing it in that final alarm.
Let's do it.
Woo 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 woo. That's right. The final alarm has gone off. As is tradition, get a little like spike going for while the final alarm is going off. We'll read the chat, see what you guys are saying. Tom is saying that Utah is not overrated. I don't think you said he's overrated, just like a bit, because people were talking like when Utah comes back, we're going to be this team is going to be turned around. That's what, especially on the broadcast, that's what it sounded like. Utah is LeBron James ready to carry our franchise from a losing streak. But is that what you were meaning? It was Josh that kind of said that point.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Not him. Like he's not
good,
the way that he's played in the past versus what we were expecting. Just the hype that people were putting on him to come back. But then we have a super chat from Paul Blunt. A blunt take. We need a doctor, not a nurse. Throwing the shade
at Nikki Nurse. What's Yeah, what are the thoughts on Nick Nurse right now? A lot of people have been calling for him to be fired. He definitely deserves some criticism, but large part of it is a younger
I thought you were
team.
going to say he definitely deserves to be fired.
Oh, no. But he deserves criticism because you have a younger team, right? I guess there's a trade-off, right? You run these weird schemes, as Nick Nurse always does, and the young guys don't really get it right away. They make some weird decisions, and your defense, you're collapsing all the time, leaving corner threes open. But then if you damp down the defensive schemes, then once, players aren't really learning them, so in 2 years' time, are we going to be able to run them? What's the culture going to be like? It's a trade-off, but that could be better managed, I guess.
Yeah, Nick Nurse almost made more sense when we had a team of veterans, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's your point. Yeah, it made more sense when we had teams of veterans. The only issue is you see all these young teams that are struggling right now to find their footing, and there's been a lot of coaching turnover in the last 2 years. So I'm not convinced that a new coach would be the recipe. And also you'd have to think, what do you want to achieve if you bring in a new coach? Playoffs? Championship? Right? What's the actual expectations based on the roster quality that we have right now? So I don't know, but I've been dissatisfied with Nick Nurse, particularly in things that he should have control over. This game, defensive set, right? Tell your players not to collapse when you're up by 2 on somebody in the paint. That's the coach's responsibility. There's been a bunch of times that I've called him out in things that's, again, within his control.
Yeah.
Continue it along.
Yeah. People want a bonus. There's lots of chats happening right now, but people are asking who's Mike Muscala. Can't believe we lost in a game-winning 3 to Mike Muscala. That's whack.
He's got that Super Mario Bro tattoo, back shoulder.
Bro, if we lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder again, will you get a Mike Muscala tattoo record?
Oh,
right there.
I'll get Mike Muscala's face in cartoon on a Mario body.
People will hold you to that.
No, I would never get that.
Bueno Kitty, I know will hold you to that. But be happy we ain't Portland right now. That's fair. They got a weird situation going on over there. But Dame Lillard says he doesn't want to request a trade. He wants a 2-year extension, apparently, of $50 million a year. So
let me ask you this. So would I.
Yeah. Yo, can someone hit me with a 2-year, $50 million max extension, please?
Ben, were you satisfied that VanVleet took the last shot? Were you satisfied that the play was called up for Fred to shoot that shot in an ISO situation?
Freddie VanVleet does have ice in his veins for going on runs. Like, he's definitely not an unclutch guy, but I don't know if I've ever seen him, 30 seconds left, the defense is stopped, right? There's nothing going on. Defense is stagnant. They can sort of load up. They kind of push on Fred. We saw it Game 7 against the Boston Celtics, right? He got blocked by Grant Williams, right? He has missed a couple. I'm thinking back to a game in the playoffs a few years ago, maybe his not his rookie season, obviously the year after, when he was actually getting minutes. Missed a clutch shot at the end of that one. We've seen the regular season. He does hit them when you're in transition. He does have that ice in his veins, but just his size, right? And he doesn't have a crazy step back. The thing about Kyle Lowry, right? Even though he was the same size and maybe even a worse shooter than Fred, I don't have the percentages pulled up, but he had that one right foot jab forward, step back to the right side, create that space that goes down. Fred doesn't really have a sort of a move in his bag that gets him open every single time. So, I don't know. Am I disappointed? No, because who else are you giving to? Maybe Siakam, because he's been playing well, but Fred was on fire. Gary hit a shot earlier, so maybe that would have been fire, but I don't know. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit weird to call the possession for Fred VanVleet, the shortest guy on the team, when you knew it was going to be a switch from either Shea or Dort. I didn't think it was reasonable to expect a good mismatch out there on the 3-point line, especially with 7 seconds. You don't have a long time to make your move. But the good thing is, Ben, as where is that comment? Wow, did it sneak up that? No, Phil B. We got a real easy schedule ahead of us next 3 games. Warriors, Bulls, Nets. So
nice.
At least we'll get 3 W's in the W column next week. Nothing to worry about there. get right back on track.
Yep. Easy 3-game win streak. Definitely holding you to it. And Bueno Kitty's holding you to getting that Muscala ink. Riker, are you willing to say on the live stream right now, if we don't win all 3 games, you'll get a Mike Muscala Super Mario tattoo?
Draw it up for me, Bueno Kitty. I gotta see what it looks like.
Right in the neck like Gary Trent Jr.?
Oh, no, I would never play with that. I'd play with a tattoo, like for fun. I'd put a tattoo on the line for a bet if there was some incentive to do it in a small location that's not totally embarrassing for the general public to see, only select few. I would do it, but I don't know if beating the Thunder the next time and the consequence being a Mike Muscala Mario tattoo is the bet that I want to make. I'm not seeing what's in it for me, so I'm gonna have to decline that one, unfortunately.
You're declining that one. That's tough. Gonna make Bueno Kitty sad, but it is what it is. But Tang saying, I've been on the top 4 seed train all season long, but we're just a young team, not consistent with wins. Maybe playing, but not top 4. I'm still holding out hope. I think we can get it turned around. Just need a little win streak. Because if we won tonight, think about it. If we won tonight, we're on a 3-game win streak. We got the excitement flowing. We're beating some teams, right? The Thunder played well in this one, right? Top 4 seed doesn't look too crazy. Draw.
I hate that we were so adamant in our preseason. We brought Skeets in from the starters and for everything. We were absolutely challenging him. He wasn't coming in with a lot of love for the Raptors. He is Canadian. He wasn't coming in with a lot of love. We were adamant that this team was going to be playoff, that the Bulls were scrubs. Me particularly.
No, I like
saying
the Bulls.
Bulls were scrubs.
I like the Bulls, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, me particularly. Yeah. And that whole hour video is just not aging well in my favor. So hopefully they turn things around.
Hey, yo, my outside of the Raptors, my preseason stuff, you can check out Courtside Digest on. I said Cavs playoffs. I said that. They're looking nice right now. I said the Bulls would be nice, top team one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. I said the Hornets could be good too. All those teams are doing me well. And Terry Rozier's back playing well, so I'm happy with that. But the Raptors,
they're only doing well because Kelly Oubre is doing well.
Bro, Kelly Oubre is always doing well, bro.
We've been putting up like 25 points per game recently.
Man's a killer. Prettiest guy in the NBA. But
prettiest guy.
Him and or what's that guy that was on the Bucks? He was on the Bucks. And they got traded to the Rockets. I forget his name now.
Sterling Brown?
No, the guy that has like the long ponytail, the moppy ponytail going.
Oh, yeah,
real feminine looking. What?
He's tall. He's like DJ Wilson.
DJ Wilson. There we go. That's
Oh, dude, it's not a draw with him. It's not him and Kelly Oubre.
No. But like, Kelly Oubre is like the prettiest, but like he's like the most Brittany Griner sort of comparison there. But
Brittany Griner is the most masculine person, bro, in the WNBA.
Yeah, and then he's the most feminine. It's
man, nice when the Raptors are losing, and this is what we're talking about. That's hilarious. Man, DJ and everybody's Wilson. In the comment, DJ Wilson.
Yeah, Lou Amundsen shout out.
That man's so pretty,
bro. He's got a quality post. It's like, keep my juice in the oven. I'm planning on stealing that for an IG post at some point. I keep my juice in the oven. No idea what it means, but
Ben, I think we might be at the end of it here. Would have been a fun win. Unfortunately, it was a disappointing loss. That's it. We're back at it for 3 easy wins next week.
I thought we played the Kings at some point.
Maybe we play the Kings immediately next.
Okay.
Let's check the schedule.
Yeah, give it a little peep.
Schedule McCall.
Raptors are bottom 4 seed, not top 4. It'd be nice if we got another superstar, though. I just don't want us to be like 9th. 9th would absolutely kill me if we don't make the playoffs.
9th is playoffs.
No, but not making the playoffs or whatever, you know?
That's 11th.
Yeah, but what's it called? The play-ins, you could lose the play-in. I don't care about those play-in games.
Yeah, but they could win the play-in.
Yeah, but 9th, I consider you 8th if you win the play-in at 9th. You know what I'm saying? or 7th. That's where you end up. The playoffs are the playoffs. The play-in's not the playoffs.
We play the Knicks immediately next on Friday.
Okay.
Then we got a couple of games off, which is great because I'm going snowboarding this weekend.
Nice.
All right, Monday. Kings, you're right. And then Nets back-to-back.
Play the Nets.
And then I guess we follow it by Bulls, Warriors.
Okay. Do we play Friday? Next Friday. Spider-Man comes out. No, do we? I was asking you. So
I don't know. Oh, was that Spider-Man with like the new one where they're all coming back from the other universes and stuff?
Yeah, bro. Gotta catch that. That's the most excited I've been for a movie in a very long time. So it is what it is, Riker.
Sounds fun. No anime, but that's it.
Hey, yo, you're sleeping on the old spooter, man. But Riker, we're
off.
dozing off here on this pod. We're going off the rails. You guys are the best. Make it fire. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. Check out the merch, the channel memberships, all that cool stuff. Riker, do you have any last words on the Toronto Raptors? Heartbreaking L to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Nope. Cheers.